Brothers, we are back, and guess what? It seems to be a youth movement somewhere, not only in WWE but also in AEW. There's a race to create new stars, and we will get into it right after this.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Oh yeah. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. I have no idea why I did that voice, but I decided to do it anyway. Who gives a goddamn? Gentlemen, how are we feeling on this great day of wrestling, talking, action-ish stuff we got going on?
I'm relaxed.
I feel good.
You look relaxed. Look, you got your tea, you got your shades, brother. You ready?
The
ready
hot
to
tea,
boogie?
bro. Yes, sir.
Is that where we are now? This is the time of year where we hot teeing it up.
I've been hot teeing it up all year.
Oh well, excuse me. See, I'm out the mix.
Yeah, it's that lavender calm tea.
Okay.
Be nice and relaxed.
Keep you nice and relaxed. Well, listen, I don't know why you plan on being nice and relaxed, because, gentlemen, we've got quite a few things to discuss tonight. This is going to be a little bit different of a show because you know we try to add these in more now, so we can kind of stay in touch with our roots of the Western realm, so we can continue to educate people and give people these new thought-provoking conversations to have amongst themselves. But
Brother Hughes, we doing too much.
Look, Taquan starting already.
I know, bro. I love you, Taquan. You my man.
See, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to this, the comments are showing up in the chat as we speak.
As we proceed.
But gentlemen,
I usually don't address Gumps.
See.
Wow.
I know it's PR. It's gotta be. I know it's PR. It always is. Anytime it's something directed towards Hugh, you just kind of already know what it is.
Pinky out.
I swear, Merle, I feel like you like kicked her dog or something. It's never ending beef with you two. I don't understand it, but you know what though? Maybe it's not meant for me to understand. But I'll tell you what I do understand. I understand. Okay, well there it is. There's history there. I'll say this. I'm stealing Ashley's shtick. I do that a lot on purpose. She don't watch the show, so she won't get mad. It's
Shout
okay.
out to Ashley. I just talked to her today.
Well, good. It's just don't tell her. Just don't tell her.
So don't clip that off for social media.
Take a note of that.
Brothers, he gonna do it anyway.
It seems to be a lot going on in the world of professional wrestling as we continue to start. But are you guys shocked by the events of today when it comes to professional wrestling, or are we just to the point now we're just kind of flowing? This is all extra intro stuff. Like, this is just setting the table. We're trying to set the table going forward, but there's a lot of returns. There's a lot of old faces, a lot of familiar faces coming back, and there's a trend that I'm noticing. And I wonder if you guys notice this same trend. It seems to me that there seems to be this race to build new stars, and I can honestly say that AEW is a part of that movement. But before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Logistics. Let's take care of some business first. So, there it is, the creepy Bray Wyatt kids. As I load it up and I grab the iPad, as we go into it, as I wind it up, wait for it. Welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, you can watch our flagship show, The Wrestling Wrealm, and other shows such as Wrestling for the Culture, Break It Down with Brian H., and other content anytime on youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm with myself, the real Dwayne Allen, Brian H. Waters, and Brother Hugh has the third H to the A to the S, 3 to the R to See how I've been set up? It was too early. I tried.
It's all good. It's all good.
No. That's okay. I'll stick to the script. Here we go. And brother Hugh explored many topics. No, it's cool though. That's cool. I tried to do it. We're brother Hugh explored many topics to try to educate and give fans a different perspective on many different things in the world of professional wrestling. Now, I'm your host, the real Dwayne Allen. He's your host, Brian H to the Waters. He is your host, brother Hugh has to the third, H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D. See, that was the normal spot that I was supposed to go, and I tried to do something different. You can follow us on all social media platforms, including Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Wrestling Wrealm 2Ws. Like, subscribe, and engage in a conversation with us. You can also stream and download all of our audio content on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. You can watch us and subscribe to our Twitch channel at The Wrestling Wrealm. There
it is.
Listen, we're not just a show. We're a brand. So if you want to be a part of the brand, if you don't believe us, shop at WrestlingWrealm.com, where you can find the latest in apparel, everything Wrestling Wrealm included. We're talking t-shirts, we're talking hoodies, we're talking mugs. Our merchandise sales are low, so we know that people are not really buying our stuff. That's cool though, because like I said, it's gonna come a day where it's not gonna be available to you. So y'all can suck on that. But in case you do want to support us, hey, look, this is what we have. This is the 4 pieces of our new fall and winter collection 2022, the Wrestling Wrealm Monday Night Raw 90s era. It's just a little taste. You know what I'm saying? We got plenty of things on the website, plenty of new shirts, new things. But trust me, when we start wearing them, don't ask me where you can get them from. I'm gonna tell you, bro, get out my face. I'm ready to start being Rude Wayne.
Rude Wayne.
Yeah, Rude Wayne. I'm done with the lip service. But you can follow us on our YouTube channel. Oh yeah, spread the word. So you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We put in a lot of work. That is the last time we did it. We'll probably be pushing for this summer to start getting back into the flagship show. We got to take care of some things, but I'm looking forward to this. But yeah, that's all the logistics for the day, gentlemen. Here we are. We're blessed to see another day. We're blessed to be here once again with the brothers. Oh yeah, look at that. Hold on, time out. PR's right. Look at that. Speaking of Patreon, subscribe to our Patreon.com. I went on an angry rant earlier about the merchandise stuff that I forgot to mention our Patreon. Patreon.com/wrestling_realm. Please do not forget the underscore. Yes, we have a Patreon channel where you can subscribe to exclusive content, and you can including things such as Break It Down with Brian H. Brian H, yep. What do you have so far for
this week?
This week.
All right, so this week I just dropped reason why I think it's time to bring the Hurt Business back. And I wrote an article today called Really? You Like That Pro Wrestler? So what I did was I named 5 wrestlers that most people wouldn't like, or might ask, like, why do you like these people? I'm going to give you 2. Cameron.
Okay.
And Damian Sandow.
I'm almost scared to ask why you like Cameron. I don't want to put you on blast in front of everybody.
Because she had charisma.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I always felt that if they would have put her and Naomi as let her be the mouthpiece, when Naomi went that heel run,
cut it out.
Cameron, what? Cameron could have sold it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please go to this Patreon.com because I need to go over it myself and see what the heck Brian H was talking about. It's good content, but Brian H, I'm surprised Scotty Riggs wasn't on there. No Scotty Riggs?
Oh, Scotty.
Yeah, me and Scotty used to talk a lot.
That's why
he was a huge fan of Mike and Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a huge fan of Mike. When I was on Mike and Mike, well, all I did was like produce, but he would always like tweet me during the show. Now, mind you, remember that used to come on 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock. What? That echo. But yeah, he would always like tweet me during the show. But for some reason, he like unfollowed me or whatever. So I'll give you one more too.
Go ahead. What you got?
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
People like Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Nah. But you see what this guy just did.
Well, in all fairness, Brother Hugh has had to deal with you for a long time. He's probably trying to hear about how you feel about Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I thought he was a relatively beloved individual.
Yeah, he was like one of my guys, like the way Hugh loves Ziggler.
Okay, all right. Well, that's fair, Brother Hugh. You can relate, can't you?
Yeah, I can relate. I can.
I'm waiting for a snarky comment to come follow.
No, not yet. I'm chilling right now.
All right,
yo. Well, let me give you a story.
Don't put. Well, go ahead.
Wayne. This past Saturday, Me and brother Hugh was working. Shout out to my Uncle Troy's birthday party. He gets started to the point. Megan says, "Shout out to Megan. Make sure
I know this is going to be funny, so it doesn't even.
shout out to Megan. Make sure y'all follow her, Megan Yvonne TV." She goes, "Y'all going at it again?" And then we just like snap right into like, "All right, we gotta do this, that, and the other business move." So then she looks at Terrell. Shout out to Terrell Met Fitness. She goes, "You know they've been friends for a long time. They could just sit there and crack jokes on each other, and then boom, just snap right back into it. Never take it personal."
I heard.
And I said, Dwayne got to deal with this every Wednesday night.
It's the bickering. This is like, man, it's always brother fights.
Right.
But they said that Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins were the same way. They used to cuss each other out in the bus, and it's just like, why do they get a check? Why do they talk to each other that way? But when you got childhood friends and then you're grown, it's just a different type of relationship. So trust me, I get it.
Bonzi Wells and Steven Jackson was that way on the last episode of All the Smoke, and they just immediately joke after joke after joke,
right?
So that's how it be.
Hey man, listen,
that dude.
Look, Brandon had to catch himself. He forgot where he was at for a quick moment.
That dude get on my goddamn nerves.
Hey, Brandon almost said something. He had no business saying. Hey, speaking of business, hey, what happened to Keeks? How did she get so?
Hey, yo, I was gonna ask you,
bro. I looked up and it was like free Keeks. Keeks got I don't know. It's somebody else. I think it was somebody from. No, it wasn't somebody from the Public Gaming's podcast. Somebody was like, "Oh, something," and it was like something and something. I don't know. It was something about Keeks getting suspended. I was like, "Hold up!" And then I seen Doc had tweeted out. He was like, No, Doc said something like, "Oh, it's crazy, something," but they suspended Keeks. I paid them, and then somebody else was like, "Good morning to everybody except Swerve and the person who got Keeks kicked off Twitter." And I was like, "Hold on, let me tell you." I went and checked. It said account suspended. I said, "Oh my gosh, what the heck did she didn't say at this point that she didn't got put off of goddamn Twitter?" She was always on. She was a. What do you call people that live on Twitter? Like Twitterites? I don't know, but she was. This was her number one platform was YouTube, but I don't know. I just y'all brought us. I guess I was curious as to what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't.
I'm sure you know. If you don't know, you know somebody. You know somebody that knows. He knows somebody that knows. If he doesn't know, he knows somebody that knows.
I don't. I missed it, and I was even thinking about on Facebook, but I went down a few rabbit holes this week, so I didn't get a chance to dig into that one.
Well,
but I've been heavy.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You've been heavy on the what, Brian H?
I've been heavy on wrestling content. That sounds great.
Hey, look, man. Look, I feel you. Because you were talking about rabbit holes, and I'm like, man, we have quite a few to go down into. But before we get into it, right, gentlemen, we are back on the road again. Brian H. Here's my thing. Brian H. is always on shows. Never advertises. Ever. Never just like never. Like I'm like, dude, the fans need to know where you're gonna be at. Never. He just hops on and just goes. But the brothers will be showing up on somebody else's show pretty soon, and they're right.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Wrestling Wrealm will show up on another episode of the In or Out Sports Debate with my guy Drew Willingham for episode number 55. All three of us have been on his show individually, and we have all made his Hall of Fame. So now the band gets back together all in one form. And guess what? He's an honorary member of the Realm. So it's like, how the NWO had like NWO people in Japan and everywhere else. Like Drew's one of those guys, you know what I mean? As well as a handful of other gentlemen. So Tuesday on October 25th at 8 p.m. Is it 8 p.m. Eastern time? Is that our time?
Yep.
Eastern time. We will be on his In or Out Sports Debate episode number 55. And brother, this is going to be this is one of the most fun I've ever had on the podcast. His and maybe a handful of others that I've had a chance to be on Jobber Tears, as well as All Elite with Keeks and Friends, and Lynn's in New Orleans. I mean, all great shows, man. But this is definitely going to be a fun. His format is fun. It's quick. It's to the point. And we talking about a guy that's a jack of all trades, man. Drew, we can't wait to show up on your show for episode number 55. But now, gentlemen, it's time to get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's show.
Extra gravy.
All right, so gentlemen, today's show is dedicated to the youth movement, right? It's probably not going to be our most popular show, but it's still a conversation that we need to have. There's a lot of things going down. There's a lot of returns. There's a lot of changes. But like that, tonight's show is entitled "More Returns, More Changes. What's next for pro wrestling?" I put NXT there for next. So, first and foremost, let me ask you guys this: what did you guys get into this week besides our regular programming? Was there anything special? Was this just something you just happened to glance over? I know, Brad, you said you've been kind of knee deep in wrestling content for a lot of different reasons. Brother Hugh, what about you?
Dang. I can't even remember.
Listen to me. Listen, and that's okay because sometimes it's like that. Let me ask you this: did you remember Bray Wyatt's promo?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, gentlemen. The last week on the show, we discussed Bray Wyatt's return. Right? We talked about his buzz. We talked about his mystique. We talked about his presentation. We all pretty much came to an agreement that we thought it was pretty cool that Bray Wyatt is now back in a space where he feel like he can create. Right, he has led us down these rabbit holes as we keep mentioning, further than we probably originally intended. But guess what? We're here now. But something interesting has kind of happened. It seems as if that they're continuing with these backstage shenanigans in this rabbit hole. Every time we see backstage shenanigans or something going on, there seems to be elements of Bray Wyatt everywhere. First and foremost, Brian H., what did you think of his Bray Wyatt's promo? Let me just set the table for you, good brother.
Appreciate that.
We turn to SmackDown. They make the announcement after Extreme Rules that Bray Wyatt will show up on SmackDown and explains himself. Bray Wyatt comes out there very casual. It seems as if he's not in gimmick. He comes out with a lantern, but he seems to come out very emotional. And he begins to, I guess, what we call in business, cut a promo to express how he feels. And he goes on to say that he is, for the first time ever, coming out to be what he's never had a chance to be, which is real in himself. And he kind of wants to bare his soul to the audience and give them thanks and just in praise and adoration for how their love of who he was and the character of Bray Wyatt and all that he brings to the table has helped saved his life, especially after losing two people very close to him. One I do know probably most likely he was talking about was Brody Lee. Luke Harper, to the WWE fans that may not be familiar. I'm not exactly sure who the other one
There's another close friend. I'm not sure of his name.
Well, the person he might have been referring to, but that happened. But this is a very strange version of Bray Wyatt that we were I was not expecting to see this. Now, there's a few elements about this particular promo that left me scratching my head. And we're going to get into that, but I wanted to kind of lay the foundation of there's a reason why we're about to dive into this, because we are the Wrestling Wrealm and we operate with superior wrestling intellect. So we're going to take this conversation a little bit further than we usually would, because this is what we do. We have to give people an opportunity to look at things from a different lens, from a different perspective. But we'll start with you, Brian H. What did you think of this very different and very distinct promo from Bray Wyatt as he made his triumphant return to WWE television on SmackDown?
So, give you my first thoughts was, okay, he's shooting. He's like you said, he's giving us this real promo. We getting to see Wyndham. And at first I was thinking I was gonna get more. I guess because I was expecting to get character, right?
Sure.
And the reason I was expecting to get character was because of what happened at Extreme Rules. So I thought we was just gonna continue off of that and I would get full character. But then he gave me this real promo and he's like drawing me in. And I'm starting to think about, man, like, you know, everybody been through stuff like this and he's relatable.
Right.
Boom. Next thing you know, all the characters and stuff, the lights and all that start going crazy. And I was like,
the gimmick comes back.
Yeah. And I was like, now I don't know what to think. But the whole time, I think it was like he realized like he literally has the whole world in his hands. And at any point he can say whatever he wants and we're going to eat it.
Ryan H., you going somewhere, brother. Keep on going.
Yeah, like at any point. so he can be in full character. That whole thing, like for all intents and purposes, if we didn't know what we know, he could have been lying the whole time. But it was so believable. Let's say he was, because if it wasn't for the internet, right?
Sure.
Would we have known that him and like that Brody's death bothered him? We could have suspected it because they was in a faction together. But how many people been in factions together?
Sure, that's fair.
But the internet tells us that. So it's like, okay, well, I can play off of this. I can play off of that. The whole time, like I said, it got the whole world in his hands. And then he leaves us with a cliffhanger. And now I got to watch SmackDown.
Which he always likes to do, Brother Hugh. Now, I know you saw this Bray Wyatt promo, and I'm sure you probably feel very similar to the way Brian H. does.
Absolutely.
Tell me, did he leave you feeling conflicted when you saw this promo?
Absolutely.
Please tell the people why you felt conflicted, and then I'm going to chime in as soon as you're finished, because there's a theme here, and I want to see if you brothers recognize the same theme. But go ahead, brother. Did you feel conflicted?
I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I straight up believed everything he said. From the first time hearing it, it's like the amount of emotion and passion that he said everything with, like it was very believable.
Okay.
Then of course he's cut off. So I'm like, oh, okay. So here comes the shenanigery.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Which we're very familiar with, so we know shenanigery when we see it.
Absolutely. That's one thing that my brother and I, shout out to Truth.
Shout out to Truth.
Right.
Oh
God. We always like to relate everything to probably the greatest movie ever, which is The Dark Knight.
Okay, sure. I see. Now you got my attention. I'm intrigued. I mean, I'm like, all right, keep going. I want to hear this. Go ahead.
First thing I thought about when that second part of the promo hit, the guy came up on the screen and whatnot. First thing I thought, it was Harvey Dent. Big Two-Face vibes.
Listen to me, brother.
This man is
on fire right now, man.
He's fighting himself, man. Like he's trying to give us the real Bray Wyatt, because he wasn't able to do that for years, for whatever reason. And he was trying to let us in on him, inside his head, his heart, his mind, his soul. But it's like there's still some sort of presence that's stopping him from 100% just letting go, letting it all out. And that's what I got from it, straight up.
So this is
like you said. Now we gotta wait for this clip. The cliffhanger was dropped, so now we gotta wait again.
This is why I do a wrestling show with you good brothers, because you guys are on fire. So there's two themes. There's two things that I can take away from what you guys pretty much have so eloquently have broken down. Is I noticed something about this, and brother Hugh, like you hit the nail right on the head when you said this Two-Face type character. Bray Wyatt has gone into space of duality when it comes to this new character. And you say, okay, well, realness, what do you mean by duality? Like, what are you saying? I'm saying the idea and the concept that he is struggling with two entities within one himself, you know, and in some situations there may be multiple entities, right? And you say, well, how do you know that? Once again, it's because I noticed something. You know, nobody noticed that red and blue light that was on his face when he was cutting his promo. Like literally wherever he went, one side was red, one side was blue, right? There's backstage shenanigans going on now. Like there's certain segments where you see like one side that's kind of shaded red and another side that's shaded blue, and then you see this white butterfly, whatever the logo that is, everywhere, right? Or like in certain situations. And I was like, man, Bray Wyatt, I was like you, Brian H. He came out there, he said his piece, and I was like, man, he's really pouring out his soul. I said, maybe he's just emotional, because it seemed like Bray Wyatt's not the type to break character.
My bad, real quick. You notice those two colors are being used a lot right now in the WWE?
That's very true, right?
Look at AJ. Look at AJ. You know, he's a big one. Like whenever he's wearing the blue, he's on his face. He's in the face mode. But when that red, he's in heel mode.
That's very true.
Usually.
That's very true.
Red is heel.
Usually.
And blue is face.
Usually. Yeah, there's some. Yeah. Oh, look at him throwing out. Yeah, I like it though. Okay.
There's this.
All that sugar.
there's this naturally there's this theme of duality, right? And I was like, man, I said Bray Wyatt must have really been going through something if he's willing to break character. And I started to believe, and they were like, well, when I got in the house, the family was like, oh, Bray Wyatt's on there crying. I'm like, what? What do you mean he's crying? And right. Like he was pouring out his soul, and he was this, and I was like, oh wow, he must really been going through it. That he's like, look, man, just for one time, let me just break character today, and then next week I promise I'll. And then just that quickly, I was like, oh man, he got us again. I said, don't get me wrong, I think there was a lot of truth to his promo and his, I look like to make it look like a shoot, but I think that as he was getting that off his chest, that's going to play into this deeper character that he's portraying. There's this space of duality that he's going into, and we don't know the conflict, but he's like, Bray Wyatt, you're dead. You have to let go of yourself, like be who. And I'm just like, oh, here we go, this confused. I'm not going down these rabbit holes again. They got me the first time. I'm not going there again, but I'm definitely intrigued. But
you did a great job picking it apart, though. Shout out to the 1,000 plus people that watched it on YouTube.
You know how long that took for me to do that? We got to do that to see the 1,000 plus on YouTube. You can just forget it. Not even monetized yet, so it's like screw that. But no, seriously, I'm like, dude, I'm not. You'll be there all day trying to break down Bray Wyatt stuff, and I was like, dude, nope, not doing it. But it seems to be like that's the thing that I'm noticing. Like, okay, cool. So now he's going to go deep into this idea of duality, of one person, two people trapped in one person. This conflict between what's inside of you on one end, and Bray Wyatt has done a good job of always battling with this idea of this possession. Right? We saw with the Fiend. The Fiend was kind of haunting. The Fiend came. It was something he couldn't control. The Fiend took over whenever the Fiend wanted to. You know what I mean? And it seems like it's almost the same concept with a different twist to it. But there's a lot of rumors going on in regards to Bray Wyatt and, his Wyatt 6 and all the speculation. But
I'm about to say, it seems like it's so many more levels to it now. Because does the Fiend still have that same amount of power over him?
See, that's what I'm trying to say.
What I'm saying? And what's going on with Alexa?
She's disappeared all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, and who is this new guy? Who is this guy in this mask? And why is he? And what effect does he have on Bray? What's his history? Like, what? How does he get in this space? Because he's not allowing Bray Wyatt to be who he feels like he wants to be.
Absolutely.
It's the idea of what happened with Heath Ledger and the Joker.
There it is.
Actors sometimes do this.
There
right?
It is.
Where they become overly consumed with the character to become the character because they don't want to act as a character. They become it. And I remember him, that man locked himself in a hotel room for 7 months with just nothing but Joker stuff. And when he left that room, he was the Joker. And I think ultimately that he never recovered from that. Honestly, I don't know if it was a haunting thing, but of course, he passed away from a lethal dose of, I believe, that's sleeping medication and alcohol. Honestly, I don't know on the record, but I know it will be tough for me to get sleep at night too if I've been haunted by just Joker to the point where I was able to play that character that well. You know what I mean? So it's just it seems to me that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from Bray Wyatt as far as this character. He's like, he is so consumed with these things that he brought in himself, and now he can't control them. And it's like different variations of that over time kind of takes its place. So it reminds me of the Matrix, the red pill and the blue pill, right? There was a
shout out to Dylan Matthews chiming in from across the pond. He just said, "Is the blue side of the Bray Wyatt and the red side is the blue side Bray SmackDown, the red side Bray Raw, basically."
I mean, that is when you look at it, it's just like, man, you there's
he
a
would
lot
do
of
something
things.
like
that. I'm saying that he would though, because it's think about it. Raw and SmackDown are two sides of one coin.
You know, it's so hard to believe that he is Mike Rotunda. I was gonna say IRS, but his name came. Mike Rotunda's son. Like, you know how like some second or third generation wrestlers, you can see the daddy resemblance. Like, look at the Usos. They were Kishi's boys and Solo Sikoa.
Good Lord.
Oh, you cannot tell. Right, you cannot tell.
Yeah, Bo Dallas, you can tell because of the look, and then you can tell Bo is related to Bray, but it's like, wow, like, yo, that's really IRS son. Like,
naked face Bray. Husky hair looked a lot like him, but you're right. Like, they're two complete different contrasts from each other. So it's like, wow, that's your kid,
right?
Yeah. So,
Oh, shout out to Justin in the house, and Raj, the Flex Zone.
Quick sidebar. I saw this on, I think it was on Twitter. But somebody posed the question: what was the greater return? Was it Bray Wyatt or CM Punk?
You can't compare.
That's not fair.
Hey, I mean, I didn't come up with the question. I'm just, you know what I mean.
He got the he got the news. So, listen, it wasn't me. I didn't say it.
Because it's a fun discussion.
Sure,
it's fun to talk about and it's fun to break them down. But like greater, no, Taquan, not Edge. And I used to be an Edge guy. He got kicked out of my top 10.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good off.
But
Edge.
like, yeah, like the thing is, like Bray, that build up was special, right? And it had us going down a rabbit hole. And then the payoff of Extreme Rules was amazing. You know,
it was a legit payoff.
That he's got the whole world.
Yeah, dude. It took that to a different level.
Yeah. Now, Tony Khan couldn't help himself.
Real. It was very real, and it was organic.
Yeah, but he couldn't. Like, imagine if that would have been a surprise. Like, it was the worst kept secret. But imagine if he didn't go and bust it open earlier that day. Say, "Oh yeah, well, I'm not going to disappoint the fans. You're going to get what you think you're going to get." You know. Just imagine
he kind of had to though.
He had already sold out the All-State Arena, which WWE wouldn't run because, according to the people in Chicago, it's expensive and it's like the bigger arena. You feel me? I mean, the United Center.
No, I feel you, but AEW's wrapped up in TNT and they have to make announcements about what they can't just can't do surprise drops and stuff like that anymore. So,
and that's the thing, like, so he didn't say it, but he said it, and so we all knew to tune in.
We knew,
yeah, like I ain't gonna tell y'all why he said this, but like the real Dwayne Allen said, "Come on now, let's not kid ourselves. It's Cody, and he know what I'm talking about." He probably don't. This is what happens when you have a brother that like you always exchanging information, always getting advice from. That to the point they forget when they give you advice.
Golly, man, this man Brian don't forget nothing.
He's got a good memory. I take
it's
that.
A gift
away from brother.
And a curse. Trust me. Shout out to brother Brandon dropping in. It's a gift and a curse. Trust me, because sometimes, boy, I don't want to remember. But but yeah, like with Punk, it would have been more special, but like you said, the TV deals and all that. But Bray was like, we kind of knew. We would have been disappointed if it wasn't him. But I think, to me,
Punk
I like Punk's return, but I think I'm going to like Bray's payoff. That's the way I think it's going to go down.
Yeah, it's in two categories because, like, I was happy for CM Punk. That reaction was like he needed that, and forget. I don't have no personal issues with CM Punk. So I have no reason to be like, well, CM Punk did this. I don't like when you look at a human being and you see that the look on his face and the love that he felt that night. I'm like, well, I'm glad he had a chance to have that moment. But Bray Wyatt was pro wrestling based. You know what I mean? Like one was a happy to see you, the other one was like. It's one thing for an individual to return, but it's different for a character to return. But speaking of returns, gentlemen, a shocking kind of return. We have the theme of tonight is about returns in a lot of different ways, right? There's more than one type of return. So let's talk about one of the returns that we saw most recently as of this recording on Monday Night Raw. Elias returned. No build, no fanfare. He just showed up. Fresh beard, and he said, he announced that his brother's career was over.
That was the funniest thing ever.
He didn't even address Kevin. Though. I was like, please, let's not go back to this at all. And then Riddle came out, and then of course it led to Seth Rollins coming out long term. But Elias, gentlemen, let's stay on the theme of returns. Elias shows up. How do you guys feel about Elias returning to Monday Night Raw? Brother Hugh, Elias came back.
He did.
Elias came back.
Well, they said last week that he was coming back next week.
They did. They made the announcement, and it's the week that he finally came back. And
he did something.
What he always does. Who wants to walk with Elias? Are you happy to have Elias back, or do you feel like?
I'm happy to see him back, but
okay,
we need something different from him.
No, that's that. As long I want him to change his gear, but I don't think Triple H is making anybody change their gear at this point because they let Braun Strowman come back with those tight red skinny jeans.
real quick. Season 5 breakout stars. No, season 4 breakout stars. Check out that episode. Dwayne Allen goes into Elias gear. Make sure you check out that episode, Wrestling Wrealm. On YouTube.com/Wrestling Wrealm.
I just want Elias to wear trunks. I just want him to wear like rust. Like if he wears the rust, he look good in trunks. Like he looks like a main event player in trunks. Like let him be Elias. Put Elias on his backside trunks and just.
I feel like the jeans fit the gimmick better though.
Yeah, but it doesn't like who in jeans main events like British Bulldog.
No.
British Bulldog tried in '99. I was like, crazy part is
he had the jorts.
No, see, that's different. That's jorts. That was part of the gimmick. British Bulldog. You know how mad I was. Like British Bulldog wore British Bulldog pants one time at one pay-per-view. And I was like, okay, British Bulldog is back. He was in a main event at 99. I was so happy they went back to those jeans and those socks and those boots. I'm not a jeans guy. I was pissed at Shawn Michaels' return to face Triple H. He had a jeans and a wife beater with a Bob's Squash on.
He did.
413.
All right, so I gotta ask you that or the doo-doo pants.
Man. I'm going with the jeans over the doo-doo pants. Nobody wants doo-doo pants. Doo-doo pants terrible.
Chalkline, put them out. Shout out to Chalkline. They follow me on TikTok. They had a nerve to make the pants. Y'all just trolling.
Dare they? Yeah, that's exactly what they were doing. Like god dang well. But Elias returned, and I'm happy to see that Elias returned instead of the Ezekiel character. Mm-hmm. I do want to see a gear change, and I think there was a lot left for him to do. And now the Triple H is involved. We have so much more to do for this character. I think WWE needs to have these type of characters to kind of fill time. It's okay, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think Triple H recognizes the need for like the NXT style of wrestling. But I think he also is like, I have a 3-hour show to fill, and I still need some entertaining segments to keep the fans, kind of interested in what they're watching and keep the fans at home watching on TV.
Mm-hmm.
But
the way he runs the show nowadays too, yeah, he has a lot of time to fill because he just goes back to back to back to back to back. It's the show continuously flows. There's no like major breaks in the show.
No, and I think that's where it's supposed to be, because what happens is we get distracted by what we're not seeing a lot of times, and that's where it's supposed to be. I'm not supposed to know that I'm missing something, and just when there is a moment, like you look backstage and you see a Bray Wyatt sticker somewhere, so now you're like, oh, Uber alert, and you're like, so that's the good thing. But another return, of course, my guys back, the OG Good Brothers. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chad
on the show graphic.
Yeah, shout out to Alpha Academy. Once again, they're on TV every week. They're doing amazing work. Chad Gable and Big Otis, they
time out because it's on my screen.
What are we looking at?
Belt question.
Okay. We got ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. We have a belt question.
Rock Oval IC Championship. That was purple. Yes. Did y'all like it?
I told you last week I didn't like it. You know I don't like that goddamn belt. Bro,
the purple. I couldn't remember if the purple one was small. I know you said
no. It was. Look at it. It's little. I don't like that belt.
Yeah.
They just tossed it because it's I'm watching Sunday Night Heat. The very first Sunday Night Heat is August 1998, and it's rocking Owen Hart versus Kane and Mankind. Yeah, so I saw the belt. I had to.
No, I don't like that belt. You did that on purpose. I hate that belt. I never liked it until like Randy Orton and them got it, and I was like, "Oh, that thing is kind of."
No, that was a long time.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
So you liked it once the nameplates was on there too. You ain't like it before when it was like that big font of Intercontinental. If you remember before they put the nameplate on, like mine has the nameplate.
Okay, I don't mind that. Like that didn't bother me. I hated.
Where's the belt guy? There he is. There we go.
Yeah. I hated. Oh, there he is. I hated. I love the IC title. The block logo is my favorite championship belt of all time. Like favorite. Like
the Reggie Parks.
The Reggie Parks. Yep.
Yeah.
The Reggie Parks.
That's what you get.
It's just, to me, that was my that was my world title. So
that was when they made the video games. I think it was SmackDown versus Raw. The verse that was when you could create your belt. That was like the thing on the back was the Reggie part that I don't know what you call it, but the way that design is, that was like the part that they wanted to show you. You can make your own belt, and you can make it with that etching.
Yeah, no doubt. And that was it for me. So when they got rid of that, I was not a happy camper for a long time. But like I said, speaking of returns, Shinsuke Nakamura, gentlemen, quite a few people showed up in NXT this past week. Shinsuke Nakamura in NXT. What do you guys think? Good move, bad move, stale move, refreshing move?
I understood it. It was a good move.
Tell me why you understood it. What did you understand about it, Brother Hugh?
Well, first of all, they was going up against AEW.
Sure.
On a Tuesday. And he came out with the Kill Bill on. Shout out to Kill Bill.
Come on, man. That's disrespectful. You know that's the Bruce Lee. That's what she got.
Nah, but I think it was needed. Like, what is he doing on the regular roster, on the regular show? Like, it seems like they don't have space for him on the regular show right now. You see what I'm saying?
I think they do. I just think they had to like let's rebuild the Shinsuke like legend. You know what I mean? And like, where's the rebirth place? Like, where's the Mecca? You know what I mean? It's you know, it's NXT.
So I that match a couple weeks ago, him and Sammy.
Yeah, no doubt.
I've always loved how they took the veterans and brought them down and just, you know, just kind of dabble into NXT to play with the little guys for a while, you know, kind of teach them, coach them, get them over a little bit. I love that.
I think it's much needed, and I think that it goes really good on it's good for the young talent to kind of rub elbows with those veteran guys, and I think having talent that's been in NXT previously helps with kind of rebuilding that black and gold brand. But speaking of returns, Austin Theory showed up. We're gonna move around a little bit on the rundown, gentlemen. So just rock and roll with me. Austin Theory
driving the ship.
Austin Theory showed up in NXT, brothers.
Oh, I've been waiting for this.
I smell collusion, and I smell it real bad. Could we see Austin Theory? Well, let's take a step back. I'm moving too fast. I'm trying to breeze through tonight's show, but let me just pause.
We getting off of work early tonight?
Hopefully, I'm trying to get this out. But we saw Grayson Waller. We saw Dragunov. How do you pronounce Dragunov's real name? I think I say it all the time wrong. Is it?
No.
I'll work on it. Dragunov and Braun Breaker for a special episode of the Kevin Owens show. KO shows up. He says Shawn Michaels gave him a phone call. He showed up and he brings the Kevin Owens show back to NXT. Like, this is like this should have been called NXT Homecoming. That's what it should have been called. Right. They have a show to discuss the future, the triple threat match for the NXT title that's coming up soon. And I noticed, okay, this is, you know, first of all, Dragunov is really good on the mic. He's really intense. If you would just wear some knee pads, that might be okay with him. But he's a smaller guy, but he is really, really good. At the end of it all, you know, of course, Kevin Owens goes, well, I was here to keep the peace, but sorry, Shawn, it's not working. He leaves out. He's like, hold on. He kicks over the stool, gets out of the ring. A fight ensues, breaks out. Dragunov gets the best of both. And Outlet Taekwondo, you have no idea. If I had Riddle's reaction, I would do a whole gear episode. But
I've been waiting for that.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be really. It'll be worth the wait. Trust me.
It's coming, y'all. I remember I told y'all he was coming back. He came back. Realness Reacts is coming.
No, definitely, it's definitely coming back. I couldn't even find a graphic. Who cares? But I'm telling you, I was like, no, Dragunov is really good. And then Austin Theory's music hits. Gentlemen, can we see the first NXT Money in the Bank cash-in for the NXT title coming up at Halloween Havoc?
That's on the men's side, though, right? Didn't the women do it already?
Nah,
I don't remember Charlotte, NXT girl
Charlotte won the Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
She went after Rhea.
Yeah,
which I thought was pretty cool. I thought that was really good.
I'm with it.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, wait a minute, is this something? This is something. Now, many people have been fussing about the way that Austin Theory has been booked lately. I don't mind it because I thought that Austin Theory can be a huge star in NXT. Right? I don't mind him being a supporting character on the main roster, but I think he can be a bigger star in NXT. And I think the way developmental has kind of reset itself, where they're not trying to hoard people for developmental for it to be a third brand, but understanding like in our third brand, let's prepare them for the main roster. And there's the one thing that was missing from developmental and main roster where there was a disconnect. And I think with Triple H and Shawn Michaels and DX pretty much running the show, I think we're finally trying to learn that blend, right? Of like recognizing developmental for what it's, you know, truly for, as well as kind of benefiting for being a third brand, so on and so forth. And Austin Theory kind of got derailed with, you know, Vince McMahon's chosen boy. And of course, he probably is going to be a big star at some point, but he was kind of being force fed, you know, towards his wrestling fans. But it seems like they slowed him down, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because it gives him time to grow. I think Austin Theory in NXT would be huge. I would even be more intrigued to watch NXT weekly because I feel like now we have dance partners, right? And I feel like Austin Theory cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase for the NXT Championship will be beneficial because it adds a new wrinkle to one. It shows how important the NXT Championship is because we saw Dolph Ziggler do it. He's like, nah, Braun Breaker, that's a title I still want. He was 40-something years old when he won that championship, but a former world champion said, no, I need this title. And it made it seem important. You know what I mean? Especially in the era of NXT 2.0, as they was calling it, they were trying to find it. They were trying to keep it relevant and make it important again. Brian H., do you want to see Austin Theory cash in his Money in the Bank at NXT Halloween Havoc and become the new NXT champion and kind of work both shows? Is that something you're interested in seeing?
I would love to see this because, all right, let's be real. It's really difficult for me to see a scenario of Theory taking those two championships from Roman Reigns.
Bad form.
Even if we go way out there and start booking and say Cody wins and then he cashes in on Cody and ruins the moment at WrestleMania, that's not going to feel believable. That's going to feel forced.
There you go.
So I think now is when you have that hard conversation with Theory and say, look, we know the previous regime put you the Money in the Bank on you. However, what we're going to do is we're going to put you on NXT. You're going to be the guy, but you're already a big enough star that mainstream people know who you are.
There you go.
You're going to elevate this brand. You're going to help us draw more ratings to this brand. The networks have seen you on Monday nights. Now we can sell this to the networks. Hey, we're putting him on Tuesday. And now you're going to elevate the other guys. And I think it'll be good. He has, let's be real, he is the future. You can take a step back to take 2 steps forward. I think Austin Theory is the guy to do that. I mean, he's not even 26.
Yeah, he's a young fellow.
Yeah, it's like, so
it's no rush.
No rush.
Yeah.
It's no harm. And I think this is the perfect time to do it. And it adds credibility to the NXT Championship. The reason is because he's taking the ultimate wild card. And cashing it in. You know, and that was the thing. Like, it also makes it a third brand. It's not developmental. That solidifies it, in my opinion.
He's now former United States champion as well.
Former United States champion. This wouldn't have seemed far-fetched in 2018, 19, when, you know, when they was coming up during the invasion, right?
Right.
And the Adam Coles and the Keith Lees, that would have been normal. Like, let's say same cast of characters. Well, let's say Theory was playing with those guys and he would have cashed in on a Keith Lee or Karrion Kross or somebody. It would have seemed believable. So I think now you can rise that stock back up. So I think, yeah, I'm with it.
Brother Hugh, are you okay with this move? Do you think Austin Theory has what it takes to kind of elevate NXT, as Brian H. says, but also keep that notoriety that he has, you know, working Monday Night Raws as well as, you know, showing up anywhere else, maybe SmackDown or any, you know, whatever the case may be?
I mean, it's the best thing for him, man. Put them training wheels on him.
And you listen to me. I think
that's what it is, man. Like it's look, here's your chance. Can you handle being the man on this brand?
On a smaller level.
Right. So when it's your time, later on, couple years, all right, you bring it.
Do you know how annoying Matt Theory's not Matt Theory, was it Austin Theory's be? Who is Matt? You know how annoying he would be on Raw with the NXT championship?
Oh yeah.
hopefully this is they can get rid of the crayon belt and either go back to the old one or kind of create a new title. I still need to get the both the first two versions of the NXT championship. But I think adding those guys will be a huge adding Austin Theory would be a huge addition to NXT as they kind of try to find their way. I think NXT has a lot of good young talent, and I think he would fit really, really well. And I'm still high on Brian Pillman Jr. I think he needs to join NXT ASAP. I don't know if he's under contract to AEW.
Yeah, where is he? They're like, what's going on with him?
I'm curious why you still high on him, because I lost it. So help me out.
Well, because you got to think about it, Brian. I don't think he's the kind of guy that think about it. Like, were you ever high on Tommaso Ciampa? I thought I didn't like him either. Because here's what I'm saying: who Tommaso Ciampa is now. When we watched him in Ring of Honor, he always tried to be that version of Tommaso Ciampa. It just didn't work. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's not the superstar's fault. Sometimes you just need guidance. You need help. You need the presentation. It's like you need stuff to be added, some things to be pulled away. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't always fault, the play. Like if Cameron Grimes, did you care about who he was when he was on the Indies?
I didn't know who he was.
Well, that's what I'm trying to exactly like. But we care about him now because of the presentation of who he is, right? We could probably say the same thing about I'm trying to think who's another guy that was like, well, I didn't Punishment Martinez, right? Look at Damian Priest now. He was the same guy. You know what I mean? He was a little more devilish. You know what I mean? Before he became to NXT, he was kind of this. First, he was a devil guy. Then he was kind of a playboy. Then he was the Archer of Infamy, and nobody knew what that really meant. And then, he's kind of back to his kind of evil ways, but he's not so devilish. He was kind of always that style of gimmick, but he was working with Kevin Sullivan and Carino. It didn't really deliver correctly, right? But sometimes you just need that. You could say the same thing about Keith Lee. Keith Lee was always athletic, but Keith Lee didn't have that presence until Triple H kind of got his hands on him. So I think sometimes you have the potential, but you need the machine to kind of get behind you and help you cultivate like what's the best version of yourself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think Brian Pillman needs that developmental. He needs that development. Like a guy like Joey Janela. You know what I mean? Great gimmick, but then the bell rings. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, you need some honing. But I think they could do something with the whole bad boy gimmick, that whole 80s rock star kind of, devil may care type attitude,
Okay.
But it's, so that's, a young talent like that.
I was rooting for Pillman Jr. And then there was just
he's in AEW. I don't think that's the place for I don't think
I enjoyed him more in MLW.
Yeah, because he was on think about it. He was on a smaller platform. He knew how to work small. Austin
and
Gunn.
Then working with his not his cousins, but working with the Hart Dynasty. Harry and Teddy. When they had their stick going, I was like, you know what? I'm enjoying this, but I don't like the whole varsity club gimmick or whatever.
Yeah, I mean it's because he's trying to follow in footsteps that he never got a chance to walk in. And you got to feel for a kid like that. Didn't know his father the way he wanted to know his father, and he didn't know him as the wrestler. You know what I mean? He knew him as his father, but not as this wrestler everyone's talking about. So now you're trying to find whatever connection you still have, which is understandable at this point. But yeah, Austin Theory is not the only one that showed up on NXT, obviously.
Only thing is, I didn't like how they teased it at first.
Okay, tell me why.
I just felt like they should have just went through with it at the PLE on Saturday. That's the prize factor.
Okay,
but
do you think they were trying to sell ratings?
Yeah, I do understand it from that marketing perspective. Like, okay, all right.
Quick question: were you going to watch Halloween Havoc if you didn't think that Austin Theory had a chance to cash in?
I mean, it's wrestling, so I was going to watch it anyway.
Okay, that's also fair.
I mean, just to be real. Fair. But honestly,
I probably wasn't. I'm gonna tell you right now.
I don't really care for it.
I probably wasn't, but guess what? I'm going to now.
I'm gonna say I would have, just because the Worlds Collide was really good, and I feel like that was like the start of like we're going back to where the takeovers used to be, where
hitting the reset button.
Yeah, every time we thought a takeover was like it's gonna be whack, and then it would deliver. So I felt like I was gonna watch Halloween Havoc regardless, but this definitely
it was gonna
got my interest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like
Dylan said Mandy was going to be on the show, so he was watching.
Oh, hey, look, that's good enough reason, brother.
Right,
That's
I forgot.
say less.
Amen.
You see,
Amen.
we also see Sonya Deville that's been showing up at NXT, and I'm telling you, man, the added stars making NXT kind of fun. NXT's got such a cozy vibe. Like I like watching NXT. I'm telling you, this is the time of year I like to get warmed up, cozy, cut the fireplace on, let the lights dim, and just watch some wrestling and watch.
Yeah.
And the people who would be in catering, as Brother Raj I always say, Uncle Raj, it's they get stuff to do.
There you go. Apollo Crews is another guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Apollo Crews, Shotzi. You know, Shotzi's hosting. I'm not like the biggest Shotzi mark. You know, she's just there. But you know, she has a fan base.
I would. And you're absolutely right. In all fairness, and all objectiveness, but listen, gentlemen, this is the part that bothers me. I got an attitude because the money's not right. You know, I'm in Kevin Nash mode now.
Okay.
And you know me when that's right, brother. He is because you know when I get these spaces, bro, I get real indignant, and I get real testy, and I'm like, you know what, this is starting to piss me off when I start to make statements like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned a while ago. First of all, but our stuff isn't monetized, right? People are not buying the merchandise. That's cool too. So like that's two, right? Somebody's got to be either listening to what we're saying. or great minds just truly think alike.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get fired up and I get proud of all the work that we put into this stupid stuff because I'm like, you know what? We know what the heck we're talking about, and we're not the only ones who think the way that we think.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, okay, Realness, where you going? You're starting to rant. You rambling again. No, I'm not. I'm not rambling a rabbit. His head got taken off by the Fiend.
Hold on. This is what we about to do real quick.
It better be a baseball score because he be saying, hold on, someone
scored.
There it is.
I work hard on those transitions.
You know what though? And because you say that, you've been waiting for me to have this for a long time. I do got
Yeah.
You see how skinny I was on that?
Hey.
That was 226.
Gotta give the podcast listeners audio candy, baby.
Yeah. And you know the crazy part is, we talked about this weeks ago, and I say to myself, either somebody's listening, and we're not getting credit for it, or in all fairness, if I'm not extra about it, great minds must really think alike, because somebody else is showing. Somebody else says, that's old school. Somebody else has shown up in NXT, right?
Come on, bro.
Anticipation.
There you go again. That softcore porn music.
Bro,
whoa.
That was the original Realm theme.
That's the original Realm music. Shout out to my cousin Brandon, he's a real, back in the day he retired. That's real music. Not the stuff I was making.
That was the Windows movie maker specials.
Oh snap! Yeah. He took it back
a long time ago. But it just here it took me back like, whew, we went back like almost
because you was going into the angry rant, so I was trying to lay under the track. But then Brother Hugh had to say something, so I stopped the music.
Yeah, you always say something, but go ahead.
It's all good though. But brothers, Veer freaking Mahan. Did you see this handsome bastard on the NXT?
You know what? I missed that part. I thought I saw the whole. You know what? Was that going on during like the Jericho match?
It might have been. I went back and I watched it. Veer Mahan is wearing a 3-piece suit. He got his hair tied up. I said, look at this handsome bastard. We sat there on this show, and guess what? He's been tracking down his tag team partner, Sangha, right? And these guys are walking around with suits.
Yep.
Their hair in buns. And I said, look at these Indian models. And I remember, and we sat there and said, bro, if they just let that man just be himself and dress like he don't got to be decked out in all the tradition. I get it. I respect it. I love the cultural stuff. But they were trying to turn him into this cultural monster. You know what I mean? Like I need this Indian, nah, let that dude be himself. Just because he's Indian doesn't mean he's got to be the guy that's overly cultural and this, you know what I mean? And I was like, would you look at these dudes?
They snatched your idea, bro.
Bro, he wasn't screaming. He wasn't hollering. He said, "I need to talk to my brother. We got some business to attend to." And Songa finally tracked him and said, "I'm listening. I'm ready to listen now." He said, "Brother, let's go talk."
Mhm.
And these dudes was 3-piece suited out, and I was like, "Yo, we talked about this weeks ago," and we sat there and said, "If they don't just, this man is handsome." Like, he is a model. Like, if you watch his Instagram social media feed, this dude is like decked up. I said, "Yo, he looks like a main event star right now." Like, this is how he looks. Is like, this is how he showed up to the shows. He looks like big time money as it is.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see it.
Brian is just seeing it now, and I was like,
I
"Dude."
remember we made big graphics about it and everything.
And
Bingo.
I sat there and said to myself, "Gentlemen, we must really know we're talking about. Either they're listening and we're not being credited for, or just great minds think alike."
I mean, no, they listening. I mean, if y'all don't think we got WWE people following us, then y'all need. I mean, y'all know I'm talking to the audience here. If y'all don't think WWE people following the Wrestling Wrealm,
Veer Mahan looks like $1 million being himself.
Hulk Hogan follows us, by the way.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's your guy.
Nobody cares.
But
he follows the Wrestling Wrealm. He retweeted the Wrestling Wrealm. That's a fact. But yeah,
you definitely did. But what do you guys think about Veer Mahan returning to NXT and reuniting with Songa and kind of taking on this less savagery style monster-ish personality? Because they came in mean faces, slamming, beating everybody down, and that was it. They had a very, very short run, if you want to call it a run, cup of coffee in the wrestling business, as they call it. And then Veer Mahan kind of showed up and he had these packages, and he was kind of this mean, serious character. To one day he giggles and he leaves the interview, and then we never saw him again. We saw him in NXT.
bro,
Man, I like it.
But-
He can be on.
bro.
He can be on his Alberto Del Rio. I couldn't think of anybody.
I'm telling
better.
you, man. First of all,
Nah,
India
but
is one of the richest countries in the world. Like,
Thank you, bro.
nobody over there. It's very like the classes as far as financial.
Yes, he should.
Like,
Uncle Raj.
come on, man.
And they check the numbers. They watch
The
the
Knight
Wrestling Wrealm
Rider?
too.
What'd you say?
They watch the Realm too.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, go ahead, Brian, because you're ready.
I just just looking at that photo.
Did you see what I'm saying, bro? I said, come on, man.
What I'm seeing is,
Mm-hmm.
remember when Jinder was WWE champion?
Mm-hmm.
If we be real, that kind of felt, hey, we going over here. We need to tap in this demographic. I like Jinder Mahal's reign.
I love.
A lot of
Ginger
people
Mahal,
didn't.
man.
I liked it.
The
But first of all,
modern-
it was different for goodness sake. It was a different champion for once. First time they made a new star in
Exactly.
a long time, like a new main event guy. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good. But this guy right here,
Man.
Veer, megastar. If the great Khali is treated, you know, it's one of them cheesesteak places on York Road I was at, right?
Mhm.
You walk in there, there's a big old poster of the great Khali.
Mhm.
So it just goes to show you what he means to the culture.
Absolutely.
So I'm thinking like Veer, first of all, the guy can work.
Former Pittsburgh Pirate, by the way.
Who, Veer?
Yes, Veer used to be a professional
Oh,
baseball player.
I did not know that.
He was
I
he
didn't
was
know
a
that
major,
either.
he was a
Now
major league
that makes
baseball
me
player.
That makes me even more of a fan.
Now
He
he's
was-
Hugh's favorite wrestler.
He was skinny and he had no facial hair.
I'm
Wow.
gonna have to look that up.
Look it up.
Yeah, so I'm like, man, this dude, like, he could be, if he's going to be a star, I think he's going to be a star. And to take a quote from Bobby the Brain Heenan from WrestleMania 9 during the main event, if he wins the championship, he'll be a national hero. Over
And,
there.
can you do Veer Mahan versus Braun Breaker for the NXT champion?
Oh my! Oh yes!
Come on, man. Come on, man. With Big Songa
Book
as his
it.
heater. With Big Songa as
Oh,
his
boy.
bodyguard. His heater. Come on, man. Done and done.
And you're gonna make Braun look vulnerable.
I'm telling you. That
If you had the other guy had Braun running around looking crazy, looking for stuff a few
Mhm.
months ago,
Mhm.
imagine with Veer, like, oh, yo,
Well, that's crazy. That's
Man.
the first. That's the first image that comes up when you type his name in.
yeah, that's why I went on Twitter and I was like, oh, you know how sometimes you just see images that speak money,
Sure.
like you know, like when you
I'm
look at
talking,
the wrestling
I'm talking about
realm.
the baseball, man.
But I'm just saying, like, if you go like you search wrestling realm, you just see money. You see the real Dwayne Allen. You see Brother Hugh. You see Brian H. Waters. But I just saw what Dylan said too.
What he said?
If you, when you put Veer, man, like when I just saw the image or tweeted. He is money,
bro. Look at him. I told you. Remember, I said that dude looks like the main event player.
I see why you mad, bro.
And I was like, yo, we were just talking about this. And look at this dude. He looks like $1 million.
Yeah. Freaking.
And I was like, yo, that man said, Songer came and said, brother, I'm ready to listen. I said, you gotta be kidding me. And I was like, okay, we're on to something.
They can do something with that, yeah.
I'm telling you, and this NXT 2.0, well, not 2.0, it's NXT, I guess now the way it is now, they need these familiar faces that are like, look, man, you're not doing anything on the main roster. Like they're treating it the same way. So it's not like it's a demotion, you know what I mean? And yeah. So like I said, we're just, we're going to continue with the returns. But like I said, it's been a different type of, returns this week. Rey Mysterio and Baron Corbin traded places on prospectively Raw and SmackDown. So I'll say this: Rey Mysterio has returned to SmackDown. I'll start with him before we get to Baron Corbin. I know we're gonna, like I said, we don't plan on being here this all hours of the night.
Ain't gonna be before you very long.
Yeah, but what did you guys think of? Let me ask you this: Rey Mysterio's feud kind of ended with his son. In a way where it's, to me, non-confrontational. Like a father's like, I just can't take it. More of a distraught dad. You know what I mean? What was your perspective, Brian H., on the WWE kind of doing it that way, kind of just like, let's do a trade overnight, rather than a situation where he's going to keep beating up his dad, because after a while, it's not going to be realistic. How do you feel about the way WWE has kind of removed Rey from this whole Judgment Day storyline while the OC kind of takes over, and he's on a different show now? So Dominic most likely he's going to be traveling with somebody else, not his dad anymore, and it's kind of get the chance to be on his own. How do you think about WWE kind of taking the approach to do it this way rather than a feud or a match ending up at Dominic versus Rey Mysterio, which is not going to make sense anyway?
Bingo. Bingo, exactly what you said. It's not gonna make sense. Of course, people wanted to see it because it's been a while since you had like a father versus son match. But sometimes you just don't have to, and this is one of those cases. And just aesthetically, it doesn't look good if we be real. Like Brittany Knight and Saraya Knight. Paige and her mother. I think that aesthetically looked okay because they were like, it just looked fine. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Rey and Dominic, it just no.
Rey's a freaking walking Hall of Famer, and Dominic's a developmental talent. Go ahead. That's the truth. Come on, don't do that. You're trying to make it sound like it's me. Like I'm not telling the truth. Like come on.
No, you being nice because people been getting on Dominic like crazy.
They killed him, man. It's Jake Paul's fault or Logan Paul's fault.
But
trash.
He's got a long way to go. He's exactly what he is. He is developmental talent.
Absolutely.
But it's just funny because like I'm just looking at it and I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I like doing it this way. You taking us, a different route. And let's be real, a father doesn't want to have to beat his son. Some fathers don't want to beat their son the way in this situation. Like the type of dad Rey Mysterio is, like he kept saying he didn't want to have to do it. So he looked for another option, right? So I like him going over to SmackDown, ready to quit.
The boots that boy.
But see, you would have did like what was it? AJ Styles said he should have did it a long time ago. See, you would have did it a long time ago, certainly when it got there. So that little bit dynamic shows more reason why Rey, eventually essentially tried to quit. The problem is now he's going to get beat for real because he's going to go against Gunther. And I don't like that's a match like I think, to be honest with you, I'm okay. I've seen enough Rey Mysterio matches. He can go home now.
Oh, come on, Brian.
Straight up. No, I've been saying that for the longest time.
I'm like, what else can he do?
Yes.
What else?
Like
All right, okay.
Rey Mysterio is
Go ahead,
done.
brother Hugh. Go ahead. Go ahead,
I'm
brother
tired
Hugh.
of seeing him.
Why?
He's Edge. I'm tired of seeing him.
Oh no, I thought they were done. I thought they was somebody. Never mind.
You know what I mean? Like,
see, now I
bro.
gotta
PR, Taquan, they said no, hang it up.
Now I gotta change
Get
it.
it.
Now I gotta change your guys' minds. Here's what I'll say. I think Ray needs this, right?
Okay.
It's because he spent a good chunk of the last part of his career kind of building Dominic. Like it was surrounded around them too.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand how you might feel. He's getting a little stale. You know, you just got tired of seeing him. But I think this move to SmackDown gives him fresh life because now he gets to have new matchups with younger talent on his own. Mm-hmm. So, like, for example, the dynamic between Gunther and Ray is going to be so fun is because
it ain't going to be fun for him.
I think it's going to be fun because I don't think it's going to be a squash. Like Ray, people are going to find out how good Ray still is because Ray made a name for himself being like this giant killer, right? Being this giant slayer. And that's kind of ultimately what made him a main event talent because they said we took this small wrestler and he showed that he could go toe to toe with the biggest and the baddest. We saw it early in WCW. Well, I say late in WCW with his wins over Kevin Nash. We saw it wins over Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, The Undertaker. You know what I mean? Ray was a bona fide main event player. You know, and I think now he gets an opportunity to take that type of reputation and that Hall of Fame career and work with the up and coming talent like a Gunther, which nice. I think will be really, really fun. I think it'll give when you look at those guys, it's like, okay, well, Gunther's clearly going to smash Ray, but then Ray's going to find a way to make it interesting, and I think that's what's going to make it exciting. But I think he needs just this. It needs to be around new talent, different show, and SmackDown was kind of one of the shows that kind of made Ray who he was. So maybe he'll have an opportunity to get his mojo back. I'm not giving up on Ray just yet.
You know what? I could kind of see him winning the title off of Gunther. Just like a quick week,
Just the chase of it will be fun because it's going to establish he's a Hall of Famer. So it's like you're not going to be like, well, that you just buried Gunther because he's struggling to beat Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio's not no joke. Like any win over Ray is a big deal.
That's
it's like Ray's going to be able to show his resourcefulness and show why he's the biggest little man. And Gunther's like, man, I'm new here. I didn't know he had all this stuff in his bag. And I think even if he wins, as long as Ray pushes Gunther to go to a place where he never had to go before, there'll be no shame in anybody losing or winning. And like I said, it's Gunther versus Shay. Once again, we have another main event Intercontinental Championship title match that's coming. Like that's that's something you can close your show with. And I think we're going to get a chance to see Gunther work with all the big dogs, like all the legends up and coming, because by the time he gets ready to go, whoever is at the top, he's going to be like, okay, he's going to be an old school build. He's going to have a Drew McIntyre like run. I feel like they're going to keep cultivating him until like the space is there. Like, all right, we're ready for Gunther. But
he can go sit down somewhere though.
He just you know who needs to sit down somewhere? Baron Corbin, bro. Since we're in the same realm as Return, JBL.
Shout out to Banks because y'all had a fun exchange on Twitter.
Bro, Banks was swearing me like he's like, dude, Banks is telling me that Baron Corbin was a top 5 heel of all time. Don't get me wrong.
Him, Blake, and Britt Waters love them some Baron Corbin.
I think Baron Corbin is an excellent heel, but he's annoying. He's not dominant. Like he's born. Bro, did you see what he had on?
Bro, I was like, what?
What are you wearing? It's like a Gucci / Burberry. I was so thrown off. Like,
first of all, I think this pairing is going to work. But
he definitely needs JBL because JBL. You see how much heat JBL got in his return? I didn't mean like JBL was back for less than an hour and a half, and he ended up getting more heat than Baron Corbin ever got in his entire career with with what he had to say.
Right.
JBL, Baron Corbin needs a JBL, but I'm at a loss for words sometimes.
What was the first thing I said when he introduced Baron Corbin? He came out with that whack music, bro. I said, first of all, what is this? Why is he coming out to this? And then he came out with the little fedora and the little tight pants and the little vest.
Same old.
I said, man, go back home somewhere, bro.
Yep.
Go home.
Yeah, I think he needs JBL, but I'm more excited about JBL than I am about Baron Corbin. But he makes it easier for me to watch. But not beating Dolph Ziggler though. How'd that make you feel, brother Hugh?
Oh, that pissed me off.
And then JBL got back on commentary for your old time's sake.
But I understand.
No.
No,
I'm tired of
I
use somebody else. Stop using Dolph Ziggler for goodness sake.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
But that's what happens when you're great though at what you do.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying? Dolph Ziggler went in the ring and put that dude over.
No,
see, Natty said the same thing. That was the problem with Natty. She even said like because she wanted to protect her job because she seen her dad get fired so much that you know she took a lot of L's just being a company woman. And you see, like, Dolph Ziggler's probably, I think, like, I mean, obviously, I don't know their contracts, but I remember he sounded like a very lucrative deal.
Yeah,
but
they
it's
paid
like,
him a lot to stick around.
Yeah, you know, and
he's not questioning his value.
Right, that man is happy where he is.
Yeah,
man.
and I respect that.
Like, that's why I was.
See, now they call
I don't expect nothing from him.
Taquan Ziggy Job Dust.
Oh, come on, that's D's fault. D was on here one time, and he
got no.
Now he's calling Ziggy Job.
But you know, first of all, y'all talked about outfits.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all see what JBL had on?
Bro, he had the Michael Jordan fat pants from 2003. Like, yo, why is his pants so large?
Even like,
bro, his pants were large. But I'm talking about Hammer Time. Like,
yeah, dang, I didn't even pay attention to that.
Bro, they kept showing like pictures of the suits from the NBA drafts. You know how like in the 90s, I mean the early 2000s, you know how we used to wear suits.
Yeah, baggy suits.
It was like they probably called him at the last minute. He's like, I'll just wear a suit. Like, wait, no, you're not that big no more, man. You can't wear that.
Them pants were huge.
But see, that could be heel JBL.
It might be. He can hit the skip, man. He good.
He hit the skip. He definitely came out there to the skip. But yeah, you know, I think only time will tell. JBL's at having him back in WWE as a mouthpiece is like, oof, that's. I hate that it's a waste of Baron Corbin, but Baron Corbin's a good heel though. But you know, we haven't talked about. Let's talk about this real quick because it's running late. Mustafa Ali trying to find his way, brother Hugh. I know this is your guy. Mustafa Ali.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a tweener, right? He's it's to the point now he's cutting his own packages, his own promos and stuff like that. And he had an exchange with Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
Mustafa Ali was starting to remind me of. He has very Dolph Ziggler vibes, where he has the talent, he has the look, but something's just not sticking. Yeah. What do you feel that he needs to kind of break through? I mean, it doesn't even matter what level because they know he's talented. Like, don't get me wrong. This is a guy they were trying to go with before Kofi Mania. You know what I mean? He was getting the rub. I don't know if he's getting necessarily a push, but they were trying to build him up and put him in the conversation. Sometimes being in the conversation is good enough. But he strikes me as one of those guys. I'm like, man, he has it there, but something's just not sticking.
I'm about to say I can't put my finger on it. You know how they say somebody has it or they just don't have it?
Sure.
Like, what exactly is it? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes and it's just like I don't know.
Dolph Ziggler vibes.
Yeah. Shout out to the what he had the Jordan 13s on now. The all yellow ones. Yes, sir. They were quite sexy.
He interrupted Seth Rollins, you know what I mean? And he was just like, nah, you know what I mean? We're not doing that, saying, you know, and I'm sure that they'll have an exchange sooner rather than later. We have Crown Jewel coming up. We have quite a bit coming up. But yeah, I was like, you know what? I want to have a discussion about Mustafa Ali because he's very hungry. He's not settling. He's focused. He's changing his look every other day. And I'm like, I like the guy. But I'm just trying to figure out what does he need?
Is he not believable?
I just think in professional wrestling, you need something that sticks. There's no one thing that defines him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you need that at least to get yourself started, right? So like John Cena was like that. He's a tweener. He's just as people, they turned on him until he became the rapper gimmick. And then the rapper gimmick kind of develops into the hip hop guy, and the hip hop guy just kind of naturally evolved into the military guy, and the military guy just naturally evolved to what we just knew as John Cena. So it's a little bit of all of those elements into the character now.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I think we're looking for the same thing from a Mustafa Ali, but I don't know what that thing was. You know what I mean? Like he was like, I'm into the light. Nobody really knew what that was. And then, you know, that he got hurt. He comes back, and then he was kind of in retribution. That didn't really work out. And then he comes back and he's kind of like himself. And it's like, well, what's the thing that's going to make you stick? What's the thing that's going to make you, you know, feel like, hey, this is the guy that's back. This is the guy that's like, it's got to be something. And I feel like he just doesn't like at least Dolph Ziggler was the show off. You know what I mean?
Right.
I showed off, but I can back it up. You know what I mean? I just feel like he's missing something. But what do you guys think that he needs to just to Apollo Crews has the same issue. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
talent's there because you'd have been got cut. We know you're there. Like, we can't afford to lose you. Cesaro has the same problem too.
he's the same wrestler as Cedric Alexander.
Cedric is another guy that has.
Yeah, they're all the same people. Like
he was defined by the Hurt Business. The Hurt Business ends. Then it's like, well, who is Cedric Alexander now? You know what I mean? Roderick Strong, another one. You know, if he's not with the group, it's like, well, who is Roderick Strong? You know,
dang, that's a tough
I mean,
one.
just something to think about. But if you don't have an answer, it's okay. But I wanted to mention him because this is the night we're kind of highlighting the new talent and the guys that are trying to break through and the changes and the returns. But just something to think about. Like I said, he reminds me a lot of Dolph Ziggler. Was like full of talent. They want to do something with him, but they can't really figure out exactly what it is. But speaking of talent returning, once again, it's just a lot of freaking returns tonight. Like I said, we're trying to wrap this up. LA Knight returns. He takes on Mansoor. I think,
yeah.
you know, and LA Knight has been disowned by his family. He's been disowned by his sister, Maxine Dupree, and he's like, you know what, I'm LA Knight, and this is how I've always been. I should have been this guy in the first place. I'm glad to have him back. He's good on the stick. You know, he can cut a great promo. His gear needs some work. I always thought that. But are you, Brian H., do you think LA Knight can make a difference on the SmackDown roster? He's an older guy, but he's an established guy.
So I can't stand. You talk about the gear, right?
Yes.
That I need to.
It looks like he made that in art class. Like he just like grabbed some felt or like cut out some letters and just like pasted them to some red trunks.
Well, I don't like the look where the boots don't touch the knee pads.
Okay.
All like right. It's too much space in between. It just looks weird. And then, like you said, the other stuff. So, sure. I mean, when he's on TV, it's just like, But I was never a big Eli Drake guy either, to be honest with you.
I wasn't either, but there was his last run in TNA before he came up. It got my attention. So.
Okay. Yeah, like me, it was just like, okay, you know, not taking anything away from him, but he didn't like make me say, oh, I need to watch this guy. Like Killer Cross, like kind of had me, right? Not
an Impact.
No, what I'm saying is he had me more
because they were there together. Even when he got to NXT, you saying he didn't catch your attention?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you know, like I said, Killer Cross did more, and he didn't do that much, but he did more than LA Knight. You know what I mean? So yeah, but you know, let's see where this goes. That's how I've been feeling. Like, all right, you know, we know he can work. You know, sprinkle a little dust and let's see what happens.
I didn't understand how, like the reaction he got. He was like a baby face or whatnot. He grabbed the mic.
He got mad and turned to a heel.
Yeah, like
that's all this Vince McMahon reverse booking you got to do. You got to undo all the Vince systems.
He just went in on the crowd. I was like, okay, all right.
Like, I thought we were just happy to see you, but apparently you just talked bad about us.
All right, forget you, Hagerstown.
No, yeah, that's when you guys thought off when you found out he's from Hagerstown, Maryland.
I was pumped. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, I ain't from Hagerstown, so whatever.
So you sound like a true Baltimore guy, bro. Not exactly. You're not from the same state.
I mean, look, you know, because
whenever we can get some recognition, you know,
there you go. God dang.
I claim Shane McMahon.
It's not like you said. There you go. You claim Shane McMahon because he was born there, but you don't claim.
I didn't say I'm claiming. It's just like okay,
I claim Sky Hall. I claim all that.
Yes, yeah. Shout out to Sky Hall. Rest in peace. Shout out to Stacey Keebler.
Sky Hall. Yeah, that was Stacey Keebler, and she was in Towson, wasn't she?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, they was you know, she was up there around that time she was in wrestling.
All right. But listen, gentlemen, as we kind of wrap this up, first of all, let's talk real quick. Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. How long before these guys kill each other? They got unfinished business, or can I say unfinished hurt business? Maybe,
I see what you did there a little while.
See what I did there, huh?
Hey man, check out on Patreon.
Oh man,
Patreon.com /wrestling_realm.
You can subscribe for just $1 per month.
$1 per month. The Hurt Business. Will they or won't they?
Nah, I think. Go ahead.
No, I'm curious. I'm like, and will they add Omos as the heater?
Bro, it's there.
They should.
I'm hearing all these reports. I'm seeing Cedric Alexander wearing like cotton candy looking New Day gear. I'm hearing Shelton Benjamin and R-Truth might be a tag team now. I'm like, oh, come on.
Here's the thing about the Hurt Business too. What makes me think it's a possibility, and I posted my clip on TikTok, and shout out to Mimi. She was like, "No, I think it's over." But my thing is this: they didn't want it to break up, and I think that's the thing that gets me, because it's like I feel like this new regime is more receptive to a lot of things, and the fact that they didn't want it to break up, it's like kind of like, like they fought for it. Said, "Hey, no, let's," and Vince was gung ho and like, "No, now is the time."
Yeah, it was all about Bobby and Vince's. Like, he's like, well, we was only doing this just to get Bobby over. And like, he didn't care that it came a life of its own, or it came an entity of its own.
Yeah, so I think now it would be funny. And he said, "Did you laugh when Brock? Did you see Brock laugh when Bobby put him through the table?"
I did. That was funny.
Yeah, tables haven't been good to him this year. You saw at SummerSlam, he went under a bunch of them. Which, bro, when they lifted the ring. And Brother Hugh could tell you, we looked there, we was like,
crazy. I said, what? Hold on.
Like, that's just something you never thought you would see.
No, not at all.
Right.
Should go back and watch that.
Vince was probably going crazy. Not my ring. What are you doing? But overall, I like this. I'm just glad we're getting Brock and Bobby. Look, like I said last week, when I heard Brock
like an extended feud.
Yeah, when I heard Brock Lesnar's music hit, that's the first time I ever marked out. Like, it's been times where I've been like shocked, but like to actually like be happy to see him, absolutely. Yeah. And now, putting them two in a feud with each other away from the championship, this is what we want. Personal
main event feuds. There you go. Personal beefs, stories.
Personal beefs, yeah. So this is good.
I'm looking forward to it, man. That's gonna be a fun one.
Shane McMahon is with ladies on Sunday night. I could have sworn, I was like, is that Dawn Marie?
Uh-oh.
Probably. How do you feel about Omos and Strowman?
Same thing, man. It goes along with what tonight's theme is, man. We're noticing this pairing of they're trying to build these new stars, and we're seeing these new stars working more with veterans. That's why we've seen Shinsuke and Rhea and the OC and NXT. You know what I mean? Kevin Owens showing up, and then Sonya Deville. You know what I mean? And now we're seeing all these matchups with Ray and Dominic and Rhea with the Judgment Day, and there's this theme going on. This is the focus of tonight's show. We're watching Omos has limited opponents because he's you got to be careful how you book big guys, because if you make him too dominant, you got to put a strap on him like Giant did in WCW. When then we realize this guy's not ready to be champion or can't really carry a match, you got to find a way to get it off of him, and it's like now you lose your Giant's credibility. So I just feel like they're trying to. First of all, they're trying to do two things. They're trying to rebuild the Strowman reputation, right? He was a force in WWE because of years of how they built him up, and now they're trying to get back to that space. He's not really beefing with nobody in particular. He's just like an entity. Come watch Strowman smash. You know what I mean? Whoever gets in his way, he wants to establish he's the monsters of all monsters. So when you see a guy like Omos working with LeBron, I mean, we saw it with Big Show. Big Show was the last real feud that Strowman had, and then Big Show kind of got out like, well, so they don't need me anymore. They got this new young dude, So you got a guy like Omos that needs to work with bigger talent. They're going to kill each other. It's probably going to be limited, but they're going to do it in a way where it's going to be fun, and I think both of them will become beneficial to each other based off. I don't know if it's going to be a feud or just something to do, but you can tell they're trying to do both. They're trying to do multiple things with both characters. But
now that's the reason why I think they should bring back the Hurt Business right there. With somebody like Omos and Shelton Benjamin, he's established somewhat.
Let those guys just be leaders.
Yeah, just let them grow.
Do all the grunt work. Let Cedric Alexander do all the all the moves in the match. He's the young. Shelton Benjamin did that for like 3 tag teams. You know what I mean? He kind of be the vet, let the young dude do his thing, and he does all
champs. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be fun. I like. There's a theme, like I said, that's the theme of tonight's show. I've noticed, I'm like, bro, there's something that's churning that's going on. You can tell everybody's in a race to create new stars. Everybody's trying to push their young talent, and the WWE is not the only ones that are doing it. As I say, we wrap this up finally. Samoa Joe mentoring Wardlow in AEW. Holy cow! We don't say a lot of positive things about AEW because of the foolishness that's going on. But two things that I really am enjoying in AEW is like the Kingdom just showed up in AEW. They left Impact, and they're kind of reuniting. You know, it's so much. They do so much. They can only do with so much individually. They don't really have successful individual careers outside of Ring of Honor, and then them showing up in AEW for a very specific reason as we kind of get into the last part of the show. But when I noticed that Samoa Joe had been mentoring and kind of just as the Ring of Honor television champion and Wardlow, I'm enjoying it. Like as crazy as it sounds, you know what I mean? But there's certain pieces of AEW that I'm just like, it makes me, it's straightforward wrestling, you know what I mean? And it's like it's a new talent that I'm excited about, and that's all I care about. Like all the other stuff is too much sometimes, and all the extra stuff. And I don't like a lot of the guys that are over there. Not right now; they haven't grown on me yet. But that's one of the many aspects. I'm loving Wardlow from the beginning. What he's doing, what he brings to the table. But him, Samoa Joe, it's like sheesh.
Could you imagine him and Strowman going at it?
Man, Wardlow and freaking Strowman will be a dream match, right? Because and you know, even Samoa Joe, you know what I mean? The fact that he is teaching the young monster how to be like an old monster. And I'm glad Samoa Joe's healthy and he's doing this thing. And yeah, I like what they're doing. I like the matches that they're having, the tag matches they're in and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I don't see a lot of
I'm still trying to figure out why he has the title though. But okay.
Well, that's what this is. Who has the title? Who you talking about?
Wardlow.
What do you mean? Who else is going to carry the TNT title?
I mean, you might as well do something with it. Like it's what's the point of it?
Well, see, I'm not tripping off of it because they have 13 titles in Ring of Honor right as of right now. I mean, in AEW, excuse me, in AEW right now, somebody counted it. They have 13 titles. Yeah, they have 13 titles. So you know what I mean? It's like, well, shoot, I treat like Booker T. You remember Booker T in WCW? He had that television title forever.
Did the Owen Hart title get defended? Because they got belts.
No, I think they just came out with it after they won those tournaments. It was never like something that you up for grabs. They just carried a
couples championship for Britt and Adam.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, man, I'm okay with it. I'm really not against it at all.
You know what though? Like with Wardlow, you know what I see? This is Samoa Joe. Hey kid, I'm gonna show you how to get to NXT.
That's why
people over there.
You can't trust them.
It's like Ric Flair was over in WCW.
He confirmed he was telling people you need to go work for Vince, and he was working for the company. So that does
go work for Triple H.
How old is he?
Who's he?
Wardlow.
He's young. He's not no spread. Let's look it up.
Look up now. 34? Yeah, he's 34.
Yeah, so he's our age.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I mean, I've seen his stuff on Independence. You know, I didn't pay him any mind too much then, but I'm familiar with his stuff now. But yeah, man, I think having an old monster teach a new young guy to be a new monster. I think that's pretty cool, and that's one of the few things I'm enjoying AEW. So it's not WWE that's just kind of in this race to say, okay, we got to start. I think AEW's done a really good job now of trying to say, let's start trying to put some of these original guys in the fore. And I'm not talking originals like day one guys, but just, you know what I mean?
Do you make the ultimate decision at Full Gear and put the main belt on the young guy?
Yes,
that
sir.
being MJF.
I mean,
first of all, did you see that promo?
Yeah. That
my God,
I know that was. I told you, if there's two guys that can get in a microphone and make you believe. CM Punk is MJF. That's two things I won't take away from neither one of those dudes.
The OG dropped the mic on him though.
Regal wasn't playing any games with that man. He knew what it was, but I think
MJF, I loved him smiling the whole time.
The whole time, man.
That was so good.
Because Regal teaches promo class, man. Like he knows those subtle nuances that's going to help deliver as far as the television audience and the audience that's there live and in person.
And you know what's crazy? I did not like him as a wrestler.
No, I didn't either though.
I couldn't stand Lord Steven Regal. He was like every time I got WCW versus the World, I would beat him up.
Real Man's Man. Remember that gimmick?
Real Man, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, heck yeah. The music was funny that time they did that at a house show.
Squeezing
and they ribbed him.
Orange music. Yeah.
I didn't appreciate him until I got older. But like definitely when you're younger and you're watching him because he was a heel. Like he was just one of those little snaky heels. And I was just like, ew, man, I can't stand your butt.
And then he was using the brass knucks, the power of the punch. Remember that?
Oh,
remember that one?
That could work.
So,
Regal turns on Mox at Full Gear and aligns with MJF. That would be hilarious.
I wouldn't really go back to WWE. I'm not trying to hear none of that stuff.
Yeah, me too. I ain't even gonna lie.
Don't put him in no more stories. Write him off TV so he can go back home. He belongs home. Him and Samoa Joe need to go back home. But gentlemen, as we kind of once again for the fifth time wrap this up, there was a rumor. I don't know what sort of announcement that I think that Tony Khan made was saying that in 2023, Ring of Honor will get its own weekly show. Gentlemen, expectations for this Ring of Honor show. Do you think it'll have the same essence, the same vibe? I want to say as much as we talk bad about Ring of Honor and AEW's hands, honestly, I think it's actually going to be pretty good. I want them to keep it in a small setting still with good quality television. But you think about it, they've kind of got majority of the Ring of Honor talent that was there in this last run. Kind of there, and Impact's not signing anybody to like long-term deals at this point. So I think it has a chance to do its thing, man. I think you have enough talent over there to figure it out. A lot of young talent, you know, Daniel Garcia's, the Wheeler Uters, Daniel Bryan, and Chris Jericho's, and all that kind of stuff.
They're definitely cooking something up. I said that as soon as Jericho won the belt, man. As soon as he won the title, I was like, look, here it come.
There you go.
Here it come. And then my man signed that 3-year contract. Yep, there it is.
I mean, we might be on something. So, yeah, I mean, so you guys looking forward to an AEW run, Ring of Honor new weekly TV show in 2023?
I'm with it.
I mean, we started in its heyday, so
yeah, that's the thing. For me, Ring of Honor will never get back to that.
No,
and it's okay. It's okay. But I want to see. I'm gonna not have expectations. So whatever I get, I'll
just
be
go into it fresh. Yep.
Yeah, because I'm
kind of the same way.
Yeah, and I was listening to something. And they brought up a good point. I forgot what it was. It might have been Cheap Heat, but they was talking about like when we was first introduced to AEW, it was perfect. Everything was done right. Then the Ring of Honor was just like, oh, here it is. Oh, you know, we just took this. Oh, it was Women's Wrestling Talk Pie. Shout out to it was Gerard Bronner who was saying this, and Miss Trinidad. It's like you get this show. And then you just like you bought it to keep WWE from buying it, and you make an announcement like you could have bought it and not said nothing, and then boom, had all your ducks in order, and then gave us the show.
Gave it to us,
you know, like they did all of that for AEW. We didn't, you know, once it was all set, they had the TV deal secured. Boom, here's AEW. It's coming in, you know, October. By the way, we're gonna give you a couple pay-per-views. So that's the part that was like, man, but I'm not gonna let that hinder my expectations.
Okay,
I'm not
that's
gonna
fair.
have any, and I'm you know, I'm gonna be prepared for some good wrestling.
Yeah, how were you? Well, brother, were you prepared for the video package where they showed all the former WWE guys that were?
I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for that.
They showed Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn,
I was like, oh, okay,
Adam Cole, and I was like, oh, so they're showing everybody. Daniel Bryan.
They weren't playing. They bringing out all the stuff.
No, I said, oh, that's just spiteful. Just
you know what's funny when they
did not show Jay Briscoe or anybody. They're like this,
right?
Like
WWE.
Y'all remember that time when Brock Lesnar first came back in 2012, and this is like TNA's. I ain't gonna call it the heyday, but it's like TNA was, you know, a little popping, and they showed 3 clips of Brock Lesnar giving the F5 to Hogan, Kurt Angle, and Jeff Hardy, all who was in TNA at the time, and it was like Brock Lesnar destroyed TNA.
That was the New Japan show. Yep.
Yeah, so it's always funny when they
always do that, or like when Sting showed up in WWE, like the best of Sting popped up on on TNA's YouTube channel, or like when Christian win the title, like, oh, watch Christian win his first NWA title here on YouTube. I said, you guys are terrible.
Yeah.
Speaking of Christian, oh my god, man, he's killing it right now, bro. He's killing it.
Isn't he hurt?
He's injured, but he's killing it. As a heel, he's killing it. He's
doing what he's supposed to do. It's a waste. He's supposed to come back home.
He do need to come back home. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
maybe I'll care about Edge.
Send Edge back home.
Stop disrespecting Edge, bro. Like I get it, y'all just mean. Like I get
No,
it.
like
Edge
Edge
is,
is my guy, yo. And then to see this, it's like, but you're right.
man.
But I
You
would
doing
enjoy
too
it better
much.
if Christian was there.
I'm with you. That's a fair statement. I
That's
can agree
all.
with
Yeah,
that.
that's all I'm saying. You know,
I'm
it's
okay
like,
with that too, brothers.
yeah.
I'm okay with that too. But gentlemen, it's been a good show. Like I said, it wasn't the most exciting show, but it was a show that we needed to have.
Shoot.
I mean, but people
It
don't
was
want to give.
exciting.
Well, it's to us because we're superior.
And,
wrestling.
and
It's
look
like,
at the chat is on fire. So
I mean, as it should be. But
don't sell yourself
people.
short, brother.
Okay, well, listen, because Brian said something. I won't sell myself short. I didn't know if the headline was going to be as big or as boisterous. People, want to who's the fiend and all this other stuff. But I was like, let's talk about the youth movement going on. Let's talk about the young talent transition. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of young talent in the men's and women's locker rooms of both promotions that are doing great things. That are just we're noticing that hey, they're really trying to build new stars. Both major companies. Impact, I'm still not. Impact is always going to push to the forefront new talent because they're just always full of new talent.
Real quick, new talent. And I'll probably do a Patreon on this. Roxanne and Cora Jade. Watching them two ladies, to me, that's like the next big women's rivalry that we'll see over years to come. And I like they did something different. At first, I was like, because at first I was sitting there like, y'all gonna have them really like feed each other to, I don't want to call the ladies monsters, right? So, but I'll just say, they fed, Roxanne got fed to Rhea Ripley and
good match.
Cora got fed absolutely, and Cora got fed to Dakota. Raquel Rodriguez. Yeah, and I'm like, but it made sense, right? Because they're trying to get to that level. Exactly. But you're in my way. You've been getting on my nerves. Fine, I'm gonna get a monster on you.
There you go.
So it was different rather than the typical, you fight somebody on this level, so but I'm very, I'm very excited. Make sure y'all check out my interview with Roxanne on Wrestling for the Culture from a couple years ago when she won the Diamonds Championship. Yeah, way back in the day when she was. And how cool is it to see Booker T commentary there? Like he's getting he's gonna be his students. Like she's one of them
from the Reality of Wrestling. Yep.
Yeah, Reality Wrestling, and you're gonna see more of them. More of his students come through that cycle.
Oh, shucky ducky.
Yeah, he's that's crazy. He's got a direct end now. He's literally working with NXT. So
yeah,
but yeah, there was so much talent that's come out of Reality of Wrestling, and
so much over there now. I love the way production. Shout out to you for putting me on.
No, yeah, every time we watch stuff, like we love to get into like the independent stuff, but it's sometimes you want to make sure it's good production. And a lot of stuff in the UK is they do a really good job as far as like I don't know what they do, but they find those small places and they make them look like TV studios. But I remember the Reality Wrestling was one of those promotions that I remember like they Booker T's promotion, they produce this very well because of course they know all the ins and outs, the tricks of the trades of what they need to do. But I think that also helps your product get out there and people to kind of see your students or your talent that's a part of your promotion that you have booked for those shows, just to help get them to the next level and help, your company make some money and build a reputation for itself.
That quality.
Yeah, no doubt, amongst the wrestling community and the fans and so on and so forth. But listen, you can follow us on all social media platforms at Wrestling Wrealm. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube channel at the Wrestling Wrealm, Wrestling_Realm at Patreon Brothers. This is
So what you think about AJ? No, I'm just messing with you.
Listen, if you bring up AJ Styles, I got something for you. I was like, look, hey, listen, we can talk about AJ all night, but listen, we're gonna be burning the midnight oil past whatever. But but nah, brothers, this is always fun. It's a great conversation to have, man. Thank you for everybody that joined us tonight in the chat, and everyone that's gonna get a chance to listen to this. By all means, subscribe and become part of the collective as we continue to do this again. Gentlemen, we have Crown Jewel coming up. We have all kind of stuff coming up.
Halloween Havoc.
NXT Halloween Havoc. What's AEW's next pay-per-view?
Full Gear.
We got AEW Full Gear coming up. It's a lot of wrestling, man. This is a good time of year to be obsessed with wrestling.
Survivor Series.
Survivor Series be not too far after that, and we got a lot of things to come. Don't forget, we'll be showing up on the In or Out Sports Debate Show with Drew Willingham for episode number 55. So join us live for that on Tuesday. October 25th at 8 p.m. And with that being said, gentlemen,
Stop
been a
playing
pleasure.
around. Get some merch.
Don't get me started.
Get some merch, man. This man worked very hard on doing those concepts.
I stopped the intro. Look at that. Nope, we stop it. You said we start. We stop it. We start.
There's some beautiful stuff out there, man. Y'all missing it, man. Y'all missing out.
They gonna miss out.
You want to look as fly as me and BHW, you know?
Listen to me.
Like you gotta go out there and get something.
They're gonna miss out to the point where it's no longer gonna be available to people. So guess what?
Yeah.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!